Welcome back to another episode of the Banter podcast. Today, we are joined by a very special guest. We are joined by Lee Jung Jae.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, good.
And it's me also. I'm also here.
Carl is also here.
We don't care about Carl.
We're all in a bunch of weird setups right now. Where are you?
No, I know. Like, me and Carl, Sam, and Carl were all in different locations to where we normally are. I don't even, where are you?
I'm in my brother's room in Portland right now. So I'm visiting family.
I can tell you that's the nicest setup right now.
Director Lee, is that how you want to be called? Or
No.
Yeah, that works.
okay, perfect. So you're in London right now. Why are you in London?
Yeah, I have some schedule in London right now.
Oh, cool.
What's on the schedule, or is it a secret?
Yeah, it is a secret.
Oh, it's probably some spy stuff. All right.
I'm actually from London, but I'm in America right now. We could have maybe met up. Okay, so we got secret stuff going down in London. I want to know now.
Lee Jung Jae, obviously super famous in everything he's done. He's a highly successful actor. He's a highly successful fashion model, and now a director as well, because he has a brand new movie out named Hunt. I wanted to hear about it. I wanted to hear basically what made him take a stab at directing, and how fun it was to direct a movie that he was also the lead actor in. I think that's super interesting to me.
I believe that we're in an age where whether it's writing, directing, acting, it's all kind of part of the filmmaking family. And I think there's a lot of more flexibility in it than there used to be. So I feel like if there is a story that you are dying to tell, then you should kind of take on the challenge of telling it.
That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, I'm all for that. That is super cool.
How did you, because this was your first experience directing a movie, right? How did you find that experience compared to just acting in media?
It's definitely a challenge to be directing and acting at the same time. The biggest kind of issue is time, and you also need a lot more stamina. And I would say it's really important to have a really tight pre-production, as well as a lot of prep before going into the shoot. And kind of be ready for all the unforeseen circumstances that might arise while you're shooting.
What's an example of an unforeseen circumstance potentially that may have come up in the filming of Hunt? And also, a side note, I think it's, I don't know if this is happening for Doris and Savno, but this is my first time interviewing somebody with a translation. So it's interesting when he's talking. My nature, human nature, is to be like, yeah, even though I don't understand what he's saying quite yet. But I just nod my head along. It's so funny to me.
액션 장면도 많고 하다
Yeah, I
보니까
mean, we did a lot of prep. So other than weather, I would say that, there weren't too many unforeseen circumstances. But, there were a lot of scenes where we had an outdoor location, and, if it was raining suddenly, that stuff is definitely difficult as a director. And as much action we had, we wanted to make sure that we didn't have any accidents and no one got hurt. So that was a really key focus for us, and having a really tight pre-production so that we could have very safe action scenes.
The first time that I was introduced to your work was through Squid Game. I was just wondering if you were to have been the director on any of those shoots, the episodes or just the entire show as a whole, would you have changed anything about the show?
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything I would necessarily change because director Hwang Dong-hyuk does such a great job, and he is such a creative director, and he not only is he a good screenwriter, but he's able to create a lot of situations like within the story that is representative of a lot of the social phenomena that are going on. And I think an element that people sort of neglect about Squid Game is that it's this really great coexistence of a lot of artistic elements as well as philosophic elements that director Hwang Dong-hyuk is exploring. So that I think that's a big reason why such a big audience really enjoyed Squid Game.
I had a question. One, I was wondering if you know who MrBeast is. And if you do, I was wondering if you had seen his like reenactment of Squid Game that he posted on YouTube. And I was also wondering if you knew he was that MrBeast Jimmy was trying really hard to actually get you in that video. Well, we've heard.
못 본 것 같은데요.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it.
That's awesome.
Ignored. Mr.
Didn't try hard enough to get to him. Apparently.
He needs to try harder next time because that would have been crazy.
Okay, so since you clearly have a lot of respect for the directing that was on Squid Game, is there anything that you've seen as an actor watching other people direct that kind of gave you more understanding on how to direct once it was your turn for the movie Hunt?
어려울 정도로 너무
You know, I do what I do because I love movies. So, you know, there's so many great directors that I admire. I really do feel like this is one of the hardest questions because every time I get a question like this, a billion movies and directors go through my head and I get really complicated. But so yeah, it's hard to say that if there's like one director that I really admire, but there's many that I'm able to learn from.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Is there like a dream director or co-star for a movie or TV show that you would really love to work with one day?
And I wanna add I was about to ask the same question except a little different. So I'm gonna add more to it. A director or co-actor from America.
요즘에는 정말로
Yeah, I would say that, you know, questions like this are very abstract. And I think, you know, I think about a potential collaborator depending on the story of a project. So, you know, there's of course so many that I would love to work with, but there are also, you know, so many talented actors. And I would say that, you know, in the past you could say, you know, there were a couple big stars that led the industry, but I think a lot has changed since then, and there is so much variety and talent now, and there's so much creative like content that's being produced. Then a lot of talent that's like showing a lot of their individual color. So this is really, I know I keep saying it's hard, but like the hardest question for me to answer, because yeah, I really think about the craft very deeply, and there's just too many people to choose from.
That's fair. I have something. In my perspective, I look at Korea as like a highlight for storytelling and media in terms of making a name for themselves in terms of filmmaking. And I was curious, like, what maybe, in your opinion, shaped that, or what kind of led to Korea being one of the powerhouses for entertainment the way that it is kind of today?
아이디어와
Yeah, I think that it's sort of like what you mentioned. I think a lot of good scripts are coming out of Korea right now from a variety of genres. So, you know, as a creator, you get to sort of try new things and people will still enjoy it. And I think, I guess an audience like being ready or kind of thirsty for a variety of genres and for something unique, allows creators to make content like that. And, you know, a lot of Korean filmmakers, you'll see them thanking the audience. And I think this is because in Korea, both creators and audience are shaping the scape of like creative together through interaction. So as much as an audience is kind of craving a type of content and variety and genre, then the filmmaker is sort of answering that by creating content like that.
That's beautiful.
Are you looking to speak with any other languages other than Korean in future movies or TV shows, or do you want to keep it strictly to Korean for the rest of your career?
랭귀지가 이제
You know,
다르다
it is a very difficult thing to act in a different language. Of course, you know, acting is all about, you know, conveying emotion. through, spoken word, but also, the two components would be spoken word and with action. And, when you don't speak language fluently, there might be miscommunication or, your intentions might not be conveyed completely correctly. But at the same time, in shooting a movie, right, you practice a lot, you rehearse, there's multiple takes. And there's also like a post-production, like editing process. So I really do feel like the best acting is really about how you convey emotion. So I don't think that it's impossible, right, for me to be acting in a different language. It just takes a lot of practice. And I think more importantly, it's about who is the character and what is the story. And if that is, something that feels right to me, then I think it's worth the challenge of acting in a different language.
Now that you've directed and like acted, is there one that you prefer to do? Do you prefer like to act, or do you prefer to like direct like a show or a movie? Is there like a preference, or do you like doing them both at the same time?
용기가 생긴다.
Yeah, I mean, Hunt, this film was a really great opportunity for me to act and write and direct. And yeah, it was really a way for me to show an audience who's used to me acting, to show them, oh, this person can also direct. So it was a really great opportunity in that way. And like I mentioned before, I don't think filmmaking is just this one thing anymore. And I think if you get an idea, if you get inspired, you should, really try making it into whether it is a movie or a different art form. And I think that, it is really all about opportunity. And just because I started directing doesn't mean I want to, continue directing. Acting still comes first for me, but I want to have a more flexible mindset. And if a great opportunity like Hunt comes along, then I would completely be open to, directing or writing again. But my primary focus is acting.
With a role like the one that you played in Squid Game, obviously there's some themes in Squid Game where it's pretty dark, and I'm just wondering, does that have an effect on you as an actual individual outside of the show, or even like just for an extended period of time during filming? Or is it just easy for you to kind of slot into the mood of it, if
Like play the role and then
or does it affect you outside of the show or whilst you're acting?
Every role has a very long prep process, and even you get even further into the character, even after filming ends. So there is always a lot of love there. There's a lot of, oh, I wish I had done more with the character. So it does affect me in that way. But I would say that when I was younger, there were times that, the way the characters spoke or the way that they were did affect me and sort of rubbed onto me. But, I've been acting for a very long time. So I think now when I'm, starting a new project and I'm able to focus on new things, sort of the residue of a past project washes away and I'm able to remove myself from the role more. But I would say I would be kind of stuck in the character earlier on in my career when I was younger.
I feel like I'm just like shooting questions without but this is super interesting to me. I, along with a lot of people in America, at least I could just speak from America, definitely our start was through Squid Game. But I was curious, obviously you've been super renowned actor for quite some time in Korea, and I was curious if you have like a favorite from like older projects that you think if people like maybe enjoyed you on Squid Game would potentially enjoy as well. Like your favorite previous project from your past.
So if I really had to choose, there's a film called Face Reader. I would also recommend Thieves. The last film I would recommend is a film called New World. So I would encourage an audience to check it out.
Sweet.
with how quickly Squid Game exploded in, you know, like the Western world, I was just wondering if you knew how, like, the level to which it was gonna blow up like that, and how did you react to that? Because if I remember correctly, it happened, you know, I think within kind of a week, it went from being released to being massive. And I don't know, did you kind of wake up one day and be like, what is happening? What is going on? With all this massive brand new audience flooding in, or I don't know, how was that experience for you?
For me, you know, I didn't predict the success of Squid Game at all. And, you know, while we were shooting, I felt like it was a really good project. But, you know, I know that director Hwang Dong-hyuk, he studied directing in America. And, you know, he was really hoping that it would garner an American audience and get a good reaction from, you know, out of Korea. And I think it had a lot of the qualities that, you know, it needed for worldwide success. And he sort of planned this and considered elements that, you know, many people could relate to from the beginning. And I really feel like he nailed it. And I think he, you know, was hoping again for this wider audience, but for me, I didn't predict it at all.
Seeing as the director studied directing in America, is the way that you work with him different to more of a conventional Korean style of directing?
I don't think, you know, necessarily he has a different style than other Korean directors. And, you know, I think the world is, you know, getting smaller and smaller, and the difference between countries worldwide are not as, you know, spread apart as they used to be, in the same way that we're all, you know, here video chatting from all these different countries. I do feel that, you know, the world is, you know, getting smaller, and I think Hwang Dong-hyuk as a director, right, he's has a lot of creative talent as an artist, so he's able to sort of bridge that gap.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I think that's kind of all the questions we have. One thing I want to really push on everybody is Hunt is available on all streaming platforms. You guys should try to check it out. It's really good. We just, me, George, and Savnapol had watched it. But other than that, I was curious if there's, yeah, you have to watch it now. That's your homework now. I was curious if there's anything else that you wanted to say before we wrapped up, I guess.
I would really encourage all of you to watch Hunt in theaters. I think you'll get a lot more from it, from seeing it in the big screen. And, you know, it's a spy film, it's an action film. So really go to a theater, immerse yourself. And I think there'll be a lot more elements of discovery and a lot of hidden gems that you'll be able to experience. Also, the last scene, huge scale, so definitely go to the theaters and check it out.
Awesome. Okay,
Perfect.
that's it then. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for your time again. I really appreciate Director Lee, and thank you so much for translating. I really appreciate that as well. If you guys haven't gotten the chance yet, make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys go check out Hunt in theaters, and then also watch it on every streaming platform, each one per streaming platform.
Just rewatch it multiple times.
And yeah, that's all. Thank you guys so much.
You can go back and rewatch it multiple times and see all the details that you missed.
All right. Thanks, guys.